Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Today is Sunday, September 28th, 2025. I hope everyone's doing well. Let's see who's here. Welcome, Chris, Christina, Nettie, Roberta, Elsie, Patricia, Esme, Retha, Nancy, Donna, T. Jones. Welcome, everybody. I will tell you, it is pretty hot here in Salem, Massachusetts. I looked at my thermostat and it's actually up to 80. And it got so cold a few nights ago, I took out the ACs and whew, hot stuff. So today we have a lot to look at. We're going to be looking at the Prime Minister of England, Keir Starmer. I have a bold prediction to make, but it may not be bold if you are from England. You may be knowing what I'm talking about. I'm also going to be looking at Elon Musk's connection to Jeffrey E. You know who I'm talking about. I'm also going to be looking at who is the one that ends up taking 45 down and getting him removed from office. I have a pretty clear vision of what that is. We're going to take a look at James Comey. He is going to be in court on October 9th. So I think that's worth looking at. Also, Jimmy Kimmel. That was something I talked more about in membership, but then I found out something about when his contract ends, and now it makes so much more sense about what I was getting. And then for the end, before we do the 3-card pull, I'm going to be looking at a time slip or a timeline leak that I'm noticing a lot of people are experiencing. So I thought that would be sort of interesting. Also, too, I just want to add, I can see that I have a lot of new viewers and subscribers. Welcome. But this week I had to hide dozens and dozens of people. Now, mind you, people don't usually attack me. I can't complain. I've actually lucked out as a YouTuber. People are overall very kind to me. But you can't be violent in the comments. Look, I understand you're frustrated with this administration, but some people crossed that line. And as you know, I don't remove comments, I remove people. And it's a little disturbing. It's a little startling. And it's not the people on the right. This is people on the left. However, I do believe some of them are bots. It seemed a little too outrageous, too much, too fast, all of a sudden. It seemed a little crazy. So I'm not really buying into that it's all real people. I think some of them are bots, they're plants. I don't think it's all legit. But either way, I had to block them. I didn't have a choice. So just keep in mind that as you're leaving comments, that they need to be of love and light. And if you can't do that, then don't comment. Just give me a thumbs up. You know, I appreciate that. As you saw, my last clip from last Sunday's episode, it's almost at 80,000 views. Thank you. That's because you guys hit the thumbs up button. If everybody that watched me hit the thumbs up button, I would have so many more subscribers. It would make such a huge difference. So, but thank you for the ones that do. I also want to acknowledge, because now YouTube has a feature that I can see who engages with my videos the most. And so it's Suzanne C. I believe that you would know who you are, Suzanne. I know that you are a member and I've had you as a client in the past. And I do want to send you something special. So send me an email, Suzanne, because you are the most engaged viewer. You went above and beyond. Thank you. Thank you. So for all levels of membership, towards the end of October, we're going to start the book club again. And this is Soul Coaching by Denise Linn. I love Denise Linn. And so this is a book for you if you want to know who you are, why you're here, what your mission is. There's lots of exercises and just good info. And then for the 3-card pull, we're going to use her Soul Coaching Oracle deck. And if you haven't already, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. Check out membership. We have a weekly Zoom psychic development class at the angel level. Today, we just did a 4-hour tarot course seminar. You know, there's lots going on there. So all good stuff. All right. So let's look at the Prime Minister of England, Keir Starmer. Here's my prediction. He is gone by spring, either by or during spring. How about that? I think it's going to become very apparent this winter that things are not going in his favor. I think he has been ineffective with the changes he has tried to make. And I think the English people are upset. Now, if you're trying to figure out if I like him, don't like him, I'm actually just neutral. I don't have any strong feelings. Whether he's there or not, it doesn't affect me. So this is very much a neutral reading. But all of my readings are, because I know some people are like, oh, you're so biased. And it's like, well, no, because the first time 45 became president, I did accurately predict it and chose to leave the country. So, we talked about that in the tarot course, that, you have to come into the state of neutrality. And I saw some of the new people asking why I call him 45. It's because he is. And I will leave it at that. So, looking at Keir Starmer over the winter. Okay, so 4 of Cups. So he has a decision ahead of him that he is not going to want to make. That is something that astonishes me about English politicians, that they actually do resign and walk away. As you know, in America, they go kicking and screaming. They don't just simply, out of honor and dignity, leave. Okay, here's his obstacle, 4 of Swords. So that is him pulling back, withdrawing. So I think this is like a literal thing that we're looking at. He's literally leaving. Where he gets the King of Swords, I have 2 thoughts on that. One, he has said something. He has communicated something over the winter that just goes really badly for him. And 2, because the King of Swords is very judicial, it leads into something that's legal, something that people can work with to oust him, or it just becomes apparent to him that he needs to leave. And yeah, he's trying to juggle things. So he tries to hold on in the winter, but he has all the balls in the air, but he can't keep them there. And so he's really struggling. Okay, so this is clearly a legal issue. So we get the Justice card. And if you pair the Justice with the King of Swords card, he's having courtroom type drama. So either way, I do believe he's going to be gone by or during spring of 2026. Okay. So as you probably know already, because I know most of you are very astute, you follow current events and the news and politics and all that good stuff. So you know that there is now a very firm connection with that ranch, that, Jeffrey E's situation there, and Elon Musk. So let's see how this plays for Elon. Let's see how this plays out for him. Because as far as I know, prior to this week, there hasn't been a strong, firm connection. I think there's been lots of suspicion, but now we actually have something in writing. And that does indeed change things. Okay, so this is something that's really going to test his strength, his courage. But you have to remember what I said too about Elon's astrology for 2025, 2026, and beyond. It's just one thing after the next, and not in a good way. It's just total failure. Everything that he knows and loves, money, celebrity, is going away. Obstacle, okay. Yeah, all right, so 6 of Pentacles. So, this has a financial component to it, obviously. This has to do with money that was exchanged. And once again, these are just psychic predictions for entertainment purposes only. The Moon card. Oof, okay. So sort of hidden secrets here. we don't see clearly by moonlight. Things that are hidden in the dark are going to be coming to light. Interesting to get the Empress card. She is one of my cards for the US. I'm going to go another card. Interesting. The Temperance card. And if I go to the bottom, Ace of Cups. So if I put this all together, when I look at this, is that, let's see if I can turn this for you, is that secrets that are hidden in the US really throws him off kilter, throws him off balance, things that he did not do in moderation, relationships that he had is coming out. So, you know, where the moon is prefacing all of this. So something that happened in the US that was indulgent, let's say. All right. And I'm trying to be careful of trigger words with the algorithm here. And relationships, even though that's not really what I want to say. But I think you understand what I'm getting at here. It's abuse and it's disgusting. Okay. But it's there and we're going to be learning more about it. Okay. So James Comey, he has a court date on October 9th. And he said, you know what, let's go to trial. I have nothing to hide. The sense I get is this is more of a distraction. You know, don't look at the Jeffrey scandal over here. Let's make this, and because think about it this way, this was all going to go away on Tuesday anyways because the statute of limitations. So this is them at the 11th hour trying to just pull something out to distract from the scandal that is plaguing the White House, that is causing the White House to be in this constant state of panic. It's not going away, people. This one is going to stick. Out of everything the 45 has gone through, this is the one that sticks. And they know this. So let's look at James Comey. I think nothing's going to happen to him. I think they'll put him through the ringer, you know, like he'll have the court dates and the formalities, but I don't foresee him going to jail or anything like that. Oh, thank you, Robin. You upgraded your membership. Welcome, welcome. All right, so James Comey. So, you know, Four of Wands is a card of accomplishments, milestones, somebody that's reached their goals in life, okay? Obstacle is relationships with the wrong people, with the wrong person. And we get this a lot when we talk about 45. Anyone that gets near him, touches his, you know, energy, so to speak, ends up with these issues. Here comes a new offer, Knight of Cups, a new offer coming in. So that's like a deal, a compromise, something like that. And then he just walks away and leaves. Three of Wands. That's the sense that I get. I don't feel like he's going to be touched. And for those of you that say that I'm not neutral, here's a little surprise. I do not care for James Comey. I do believe he ended the election to 45 the first time around by doing that investigation in the 11th hour on Hillary. So the thing is, you can still have your personal preferences and be an effective reader. That's my point. So Jimmy Kimmel. So in membership, I talked last week about how I said, I saw in November, there's some kind of talks. Now, this was before he got reinstated into his show. I said in November, there's some sort of talks that's happening about his contract, some kind of negotiation, something is happening. And then in the new year, well, now it's like he's celebrating some new deal. And it lines up with his astrology perfectly. And then what I learned is this season is his last anyways. I didn't know that. So he only has until May, and then his contract expires. So this makes a lot of sense to me that he would start negotiating the end of this year. The beginning of this year, he would find out what it is that he's going to be doing, where he's going to be going. And it did look good for him. His astrology is extremely favorable. So I suspect he's changing. I don't know if, like changing networks, something to do with that, changing platforms, but it works out for him. So, I do think he's going to stick it out, but he gets a better offer and then he's off and gone. But I'll pull a few cards for him. This is how he's feeling right now. 10 of Swords, betrayed, stabbed in the back. People that he thought he could trust was disloyal. Okay, you know what? For him, this is a good obstacle to have. So my second card, if you're not familiar, is my obstacle challenge card. I don't like doing reverses. I do a modified Celtic cross. So he's actually going to have a few different options. Okay. And it has to do with work. This is the only card that has to do with working and making money. But it also speaks to the fact that this person, and in this case it's Jimmy Kimmel, has worked to a level of mastery. He's been diligent. He's been a very careful, meticulous worker, and it pays off for him. Wow. He has worked his magic. Here's the magician. And he gets like this really beautiful, fresh new start. And if I go to the bottom of the deck, check this out. Ace of Swords. That is a new beginning where he can communicate freely. So either he really changes his contract that he currently has, so he has more freedom of speech, or he changes networks or platforms where he's given more freedom, more liberty. Okay. So let me just put this in. So let's look at who is the catalyst for removing 45 from office. I do not think any astrologer, tarot reader is seeing him serve all 4 years. Even the ones that certainly lean towards him, let's say, they're not seeing it either. And it's funny because the MAGAs that I've had come on my channel are saying the same thing, which I thought was interesting. So I think there's just a sentiment that we know he's going. Now, I do see a lot of people asking, but how about Vance? Well, right, that's how things work. Vance would step up. However, if you look at Vance's astrology, you can see him stepping up, and then all Hades breaks loose, and then he's gone too. So I really believe that neither one is going to serve all 4 years. But do I think that there will be a period where we do just have Vance, where Vance is our president? Yes, I do believe that. I do believe that. So I know who I believe will be. And here's the thing. I don't think it's one person. I think it's a collective. I think these women are going to be a catalyst. And these are the victims from Jeffrey E. and Ghislaine Maxwell. They're going to be stepping forward. These women are not going to be silenced. And it's not just, celebrity sound bites. They're going to start putting things through the legal system. Because ultimately, yes, will it be a judge and a lawyer that actually brings them down? Sure. But the catalyst is going to be these women. Because they were children. They were girls, young girls. And they're not going to be quiet. And they know all the details, all the names. And for those of you that are frustrated that they didn't just blurt out everything that they know when they had that moment on TV, they have to worry about their safety. They still have to know that they can sleep safely at night. Okay. They have lives. They're real people. So I think that they're doing it in a very smart, intelligent way where they're getting the help that they need to do this. So let's take a look at the who. Okay, so this is the one card that really talks about things speeding up, the Eight of Wands. And I think for 45, he's going to feel like, wow, like these just keep coming at me. And I think in this case, where we're looking at a legal issue being, ousted, removed from presidency, however you want to word it. I know it's not ousted. Don't write to me. But I think he's going to feel like I'm just getting hit by all sides. And I also think that this is the victims or alleged victims, I guess I have to say, but uh, all of them stepping forward, saying what they need to say. And oh boy, is this going to cause a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings. Queen of Cups, literally the queen of the water. The tides are turning here against him because the one thing that I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, nobody likes someone that has harmed children. I don't care if you're a Republican, Democrat, or you're not political in the least, you hate politics. It doesn't matter. The one thing that unites all of us is that we don't like people that harm children. And so this is going to cause a turning of the tide. But you know what? Justice isn't blind. Yes, there's going to be some decisions that have to be made. And this is probably going to be the first time in our history where something like this happens. And that's why I keep saying, I think he's just going to bow out and say, look, I'm sick. And some of you were saying, oh, he would never say that he's sick. He's already released that he's sick. They already made a public announcement. I have no idea what people are talking about when they're saying he would never say he's sick. They already released it. It's been all over the news. Like, haven't you heard that? And I think it was very carefully released because, okay, we know it's vascular. We know it's, heart related, which leaves him ripe for vascular dementia. And I gave you my theory about this before, that is one of the ways that you can dodge getting convicted or even put on trial for something, is if you can prove something like that, right? I'm a dementia practitioner. I can tell you this is a real thing that people actually do, but it's usually warranted. The person, usually does have dementia. So he's going to be presented with two choices. Either he stays in office and he fights this out, or he scurries away. I think we all see him scurrying away. The astrology supports that. The cards support that. Wow. Okay. So he really does. Okay. So this is the card of making a decision, Four of Cups, but not liking any of the choices in front of you. And Wheel of Fortune, he comes into his karmic destiny and fate. So this is where he faces his karma. Things really change for him after this. And so I think the two eclipses that we had in September this month, if you're watching it now, I know some of you will be watching this, at a different time. That's why I'm saying it. The two eclipses that happened in September 7th and 21st of this year, hit him really hard. And eclipses don't typically bring out whatever's going to happen on that date. It takes time to unfold, but that's the catalyst. And I really do think October, next month, things really start to just unfold in his life. Things develop. And November, he's living a different reality. Come winter, his whole life is different. I don't see him around for much longer as president. I really don't. So did I get to everything? I did. So I wanted to talk about something that's kind of interesting before I do the 3-card pull. And that is a time slip or a timeline leak. That's when people report, like maybe having shared memories, shared dreams, unusual dreams, having memories that they're not quite sure where they come from, or like just seeing an image or a sensation that they can't quite put their finger on. It doesn't seem to be quite from this lifetime. It's just stuff that's outside of this normal space time. So deja vu, the Mandela effect. And what I think it is people all are waking up around the same time right now. And, we're all coming through to this new time of awakening. The veil is thinning. And what I have noticed with so many of my clients, it's insane that people are randomly waking up around 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning now. They're fine. They don't need anything. They don't need a glass of water or to get up. They're okay, but they're just wide awake. And that's when the veil is the thinnest. And what I'm also going to say is interesting because I've been doing this for decades now. It always used to be 3 a.m. and I'm noticing a trend with 2 a.m. So something has slightly shifted with the veil. So I've noticed that. The other thing that I'm noticing is that when people are talking to me about their dreams, they're talking about what's clearly a parallel life. And I've talked about that on this channel a few times now, that I have all these dreams of me currently working as a dementia practitioner. Now, I gave that up to start YouTube. And there's a reality of me that is still working as a dementia practitioner. I can see social security numbers, prescriptions, doctor diagnoses. It's all right there. It's like it's happening. And so I'm getting this version, this parallel life version of me doing something that's very mundane. It's not very exciting. Or sometimes I just have dreams of living in a slightly different home and just like doing the laundry. It's nothing crazy, but it's not a normal dream because it's very much based in reality. It's my life, just slightly tweaked. And I'm seeing in the comments, a lot of you are saying, yes, you too. The other thing that people are reporting to me is that they are having some memories of going out on the astral plane at night and serving on councils, doing some real work, going around the universe, helping other planets, helping this planet. And that's something people never used to say, even just a few years ago. So I really do think we're coming into this beautiful time of an awakening. The veil is thinning, we're ascending. And to me, that is just a clear sign. And, everything that happens is happening for a reason. And I do believe everything is ultimately happening for our highest good. So here's the soul coaching oracle cards. And I'm just going to do a 3-card pull. And just get comfortable. They're new, so they're still like a little sticky. Okay. And so all my psychic development students, take a deep breath, ground yourself, and go with that gut instinct. Which one has the message for you today? 1, 2, or 3? Here we go. Card number 1. This is beautiful, emerging. Can you see the butterflies? So it's like you have been waiting for this moment. You've been in a cocoon and now you're spreading your wings. You are emerging a new person, a freer person, someone that is more true to yourself. You're more authentic, and this is your time to shine. Number 2, what were we just talking about? I love these synchronicities. Awakening. Look, this person is just looking up to the heavens and like this purple light is coming down to them. You are going through a spiritual awakening. You are leveling up. You are ascending to 4th density or 5th dimension, whichever you want to call it. You're going through this beautiful time of spiritual enlightenment. And sometimes that feels heavy. I get it. The dark night of the soul isn't pretty. I know they always make it look like people's frolicking on the beach. No, it's being tired and having sleepless nights and getting stressed out. But then you emerge to this. Okay. And number 3, I love this, compassion. Look at her. And it's green, right? So our heart chakra. You are somebody that is just full of love. You are ready to share your love with others, especially in a healing way. I'm going to say for a lot of you that picked 3, you are natural healers. And what I will say for all of you, you're nurturing people. And you need to have not just compassion for others, but compassion for yourself. Love yourself as much as you love others. Thank you so much, Susan. I appreciate your generosity. Thank you. And thank you to everyone that came last week when I did the readings. I will do that again on Halloween. Um, that way it's an affordable, accessible way for people to get readings with me. I'll spend 2 hours on Halloween. You can just hit the thanks, or I think it's the thanks. I think it's the thanks button. Um, and I pull cards and whatnot. So, it's a great way to get a reading because I do only read for members and I only have a few openings a month. So I'm so glad I read for 40 people. So, and I think on Halloween it's going to be even bigger. So I love doing that for people. I love giving personal readings. Oh, and about my cat, Annie, you probably saw my post. So she is about as stable as she can be right now. She is going in for surgery on Thursday. It started off with just that feline herpes flare up that I knew something was wrong. So that's why we went to the feline hospital, but it quickly spiraled. And then came Wednesday, I brought her right back, and oh boy, did it spiral. So major dental issue that's going on. And it's actually from a regular vet that she had gone to before I got her to the feline hospital. He created a whole issue there. But now she has a severe thyroid issue and she may have to have it removed. So we're playing it by ear right now. So, oh, Diana gifted a membership to somebody. Oh, to Brenda. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. You guys are so generous. Okay, everyone. So right now it's literally 80 degrees in here. I am dying, but she is in her heated bed. But also remember, cats' body temperatures are higher than ours. So they like to be warm and toasty. So, okay, everyone, don't forget, if you want to join the book club, it is Soul Coaching by Denise Lynn. It's not an expensive book. You can get it right on Amazon. You can have it put in your Kindle. I don't really recommend this one as an audio book, I'll be honest, because there's exercises to do in here. But to each their own. And we will start that in a few weeks. I'll give everyone a few weeks to get it and to start to dig in. So, all right, my friends, thank you for joining me this Sunday and have a fantastic week. Bye, everyone.